here I'm going to go over some Akkha butterfly tiles for leagues. Mulgo Kirby also put out a video on some Akkha tiles. These are different to those, but these are a slight improvement. There's a slight issue with Mulgo Kirby's tiles in that Akkha briefly leaves the quadrant. And that means you kind of have to alter your path in order to accommodate for that. Otherwise, there's a point where you can't attack Akkha because it's invincible. These tiles avoid that issue. They still have the issue of stepping out of the quadrant briefly at 2 points. So you are vulnerable to the lightning or to the special attack from the other shadows. But other than that, these are, I believe, the optimal tiles. There might be something you might be able to optimize, but these are the best tiles that I know of for keeping up DPS while butterflying Akkha in leagues with a 2-tick mage weapon. So these tiles are kind of color coordinated. You've got the red tiles for going in a clockwise direction, and you have the blue tiles for going in an anti-clockwise direction. So the blue tiles are this quadrant here, and then this quadrant here, the southwest quadrant, and well, actually, I guess yeah, the southeast quadrant and the northwest quadrant, and the northwest quadrant and the northeast quadrant and southwest quadrant clockwise. So the green tiles here are not particularly relevant. They're just there. I kind of like to start on those tiles sometimes, and I just have I like to start on this green tile over here, and the rest are just there for parity, just to keep me saying you don't really use it. You step over those tiles in the method, but you're using the red tiles to attack from. This method, if you count, there are 9 attack tiles here, and you are skipping over 2 tiles. There's 1 tile here that you're skipping over, and then this tile here that you also skip over in the cycle. And so that's a 20-tick cycle, and you're attacking 9 times, which comes out to 2.22 tick, and that's slightly higher DPS than the ones in Mulgo Kirby's video. So I will now just demonstrate the method. There's only 2 kind of considerations that need to be made. One is when you're leaving the Simon Says puzzle, and then one is dealing with shadows. Both are pretty simple once you know the method. So I will just go ahead and get started. So I like to start over here in this quadrant. I'll grab him. So I step outside briefly here. Skip over that tile. This is just all standard 2-tick butterfly stuff. And then, yeah, here. So, for this click, you are underneath the shadow briefly. Okay, mistake. You are underneath the shadow briefly. And so, this attack does push you out. But you are still perfectly in position to continue the cycle. So, it's not really any issue. Yeah, other than that, it's just normal butterflying. Shadow DPS is absurd. Alright, we'll try again, see if we can get a bit of footage without him phasing. Cool. Alright, so far. Skip it right there, because I need to take a main build setup. Yeah, so there's probably some menu entry swapper stuff that you can do to deprioritize Akkha over the shadows, but I don't mind just trying to do the higher APM method and maybe losing a few ticks. I think it's just more fun that way. With a trident, there has been a few times where I've had to skip hits. Oh, okay, here's a good. I guess to show the transition here. When you transition, you want to move to the north and the south tiles, like how I've just shown here. Okay, cool. And same kind of deal for leaving Simon Says. So I'll move north. Yeah, sorry, I moved south. I stuffed up a little bit, but noticed I stuffed up, waited an extra tick, let him catch up, and continue on with the cycle. You can use these tiles where you're skipping an extra tick. You can use those to kind of correct anything you haven't set up. Like if your guardian's not summoned, or if you don't have a prayer on, we need to do a gear switch. I have to use that one extra tick that you have. Okay, so this is a good example here. Oh, very humble. So I know I can wait there for a little bit, because he's still in his attack cooldown. Alright, well that was a pretty good example of the method. So that showcases pretty much most of the method. There are some minor secondary considerations that I guess I'll just go over really quickly. One thing to keep in mind is, at least for me, I was making mistakes quite consistently against the shadows when I was doing the attack where I step out from underneath the shadow. I would misclick on this tile in particular, and all of the time I would click on either this tile or this tile, and either way I would get dragged here. If you don't step all the way out, then Akkha doesn't path correctly. And if you, say for example, step on this tile and then go from this tile to this tile, then you will tank a hit when you transition across over here. So yeah, just making sure to definitely click on this tile. I think clicking on this tile is maybe okay. Like you can correct that and you won't be chancing a melee. You might have to give up a hit or two. But making sure to click on this tile is pretty important. The other thing is in teams, because you're going all the way right up to the edge here with Akkha, your teammates probably don't want to be standing on the east and west sides. The north and south sides, over here and over here, those are perfectly fine. So I would recommend for teammates just to stand north or south only and not use the east or west sides, because they will get in the way of Akkha. Unless they want to move over out of the way, they can do a little bit of a dance like that if they want. Step into the dangerous quadrant for a bit. But the easiest thing would just be for them to go either north or south. So it's a little bit late, but hopefully some people will find this useful for dealing with Akkha in leagues.